Welcome, and thank you for listening to the THRIVE55 Plus podcast, where we give practical inspiration so you get healthier. Your host, Cheryl Jones, will help you uncover more of who you already are and explore what you need to heal and flourish one moment at a time. Cheryl is an author, wellness leader, and health coach voted one of the most powerful women in the mindfulness movement by Mindful magazine. There is no AI-generated content in this podcast. This has been created by subject matter expert Cheryl Jones.
Welcome to the THRIVE55 Plus show. I'm your host, Cheryl Jones, and in this episode, I'm going to clarify what mindfulness is and debunk some of the myths and misunderstandings so that you can experience its many benefits and live your best life. I recall walking through the streets of Newport, Rhode Island back in 1995. I went from a leisurely stroll to a purposeful walk. I didn't know where I was going, but I felt myself being drawn to some place. The next thing I knew, I arrived at a bookstore. I walked in and the owner came over and asked, "How can I help you?" My eyes welled up with unexpected emotion, and I replied to this stranger, "I don't know what to do next." Without skipping a beat, she brought me to a table filled with books and handed me Wherever You Go, There You Are by Dr. Jon Kabat-Zinn. I can honestly say without hesitation that this was the book that changed my life. I'd obviously heard of meditation before, but never felt like it was accessible until reading Jon's book. This became my motivation for undergoing extensive teacher training in the world-renowned Mindfulness-Based Stress Reduction, MBSR, program in Worcester, Massachusetts. Back then, I never could have imagined that 15 years later, I'd be the director of mindfulness at Aetna, an American-managed healthcare company. While mindfulness has been a hot topic, we've struggled with both offering an understandable definition and demonstrating its practical application for modern life. There are numerous scientific publications on mindfulness. In fact, from 1966 to 2021, 16,581 publications on mindfulness were identified, and there's been an exponential growth of publications since 2006. So, what the heck is mindfulness really? And more importantly, what's in it for you? Let me start with this definition. Mindfulness is non-judgmental, present moment awareness. It's about being awake and aware of what is happening within us and around us with curiosity and openness. The beauty and the possibility lie in the fact that this capacity for awareness is innate within all human beings. As I'm aging, I've been thinking a lot about how mindfulness can help us to age well. Research has shown that mindfulness training improves depressive symptoms as we age. It improves pain management and increases emotional well-being. People who practice mindfulness meditation experience enhanced attention and overall cognitive function. Lately, my mind has been hyper-focused on some exciting things happening at work. So focused that I've been bumping into doors and cabinets and getting little bruises. I'm thinking, what is going on here? Well, what's happening is that I'm living in my head and not paying enough attention to my body and how I move about the house. Healthy aging and staying safe requires that we slow down and direct our attention in the moment. For me, in this example, it's about directing my attention to how I am moving through space so that I can do this without bumping into things. Slowing down and paying a little more attention to our surroundings prevents accidents no matter where we are. Our attention is our best internal resource, and we need to protect it and strengthen it. Everyone and everything compete for our attention. We typically find ourselves living in a constant state of distraction, going from doing one thing to the next on automatic pilot. We've become human doings rather than human beings. Mindfulness meditation helps us to put the being back into human being. Full disclosure, I never thought I could be a meditator. I've always loved to exercise and to move in general. I've engaged in a variety of sports and physical activities throughout my lifetime, and I never believed I could sit still long enough to meditate. I always thought I was doing something wrong because I could never clear my mind and often got fidgety and distracted. I thought I was supposed to be relaxed, calm, and comfortable. I kind of liked the adrenaline rush of the workday or from going from one activity to the next. It took me time to learn how to slow down and act more intentionally. But when I discovered mindfulness meditation, it all made sense to me. I want to talk about what is different about mindfulness meditation and why I believe it is the best practice to start with. There are several popular types of meditation practices: compassion, concentration, Zen or Zazen, Vipassana, loving kindness, transcendental or TM, mantra, movement, progressive relaxation, and visualization. All these types of meditation promote well-being, but I strongly feel that mindfulness is the best meditation for most people because it involves cultivating awareness. And this awareness is exactly what gives us the clarity to know what we need. This awareness helps us to get to know ourselves better. For example, awareness enables me to determine that a movement meditation will serve me best right now. With mindfulness, we practice being awake and aware of our present moment experience. We develop a willingness to stop and be with ourselves as we are, with patience and kindness. We cultivate awareness of breathing, thoughts, feelings, sensations, and surroundings. This isn't a checklist. Rather, these are objects of our attention that we are lovingly tending to. Another special quality of mindfulness meditation is that there is no breathing technique. While there are many different types of breathing exercises, with mindfulness practice, there is no particular way to breathe. No counting, no manipulation of the breath, only a simple awareness that we are breathing. We follow the breath as it moves in and out of the body. No effort, no striving, just being with the breath as it is, and getting familiar with what it feels like to breathe. We note sensations related to breathing, like the air at the tip of the nose or the belly rising and sinking. Here's why this is so important. If we can learn to be with the breath as it is, then we can learn to be with ourselves as we are. This is the root of acceptance. Simple, but not so easy, which is why we call this a practice. I want to clarify a few misconceptions to remove any potential barriers to you getting started with a mindfulness meditation practice. You do not need to sit cross-legged on the floor with your eyes closed. You can sit in any chair with the body as upright as possible, feet on the ground, hands resting in the lap, and eyes lowered in a soft gaze. You don't need a quiet, private space where you'll not be interrupted. Sure, this is ideal, but you can pause for a mindfulness break anywhere, anytime. With mindfulness meditation, there is no chanting, bowing, incense, or chimes. I enjoy all of this, but this is not the way I teach mindfulness. I prefer keeping it secular. This way, there is no perception of woo-woo, no conflict with other religious or spiritual beliefs. Rather, mindfulness can complement any spiritual practice, and it is its own spiritual practice. The goal of mindfulness practice isn't to achieve relaxation or some blissful, altered state of being. We give ourselves permission to stop and be totally present for whatever is happening. We note any desire for things to be different than they are. We are allowing, not striving. We are noticing, not focusing. We practice being with ourselves just as we are. We practice being with things just as they are. We come to each practice as though for the first time with openness and curiosity. I don't believe in promoting or teaching different levels of meditation because as soon as we say the word levels, we get into striving. We get focused on achieving rather than learning to be. We're already judging our experience and putting labels on it before we even get started. This is a fundamental difference with mindfulness meditation. There is no place to go, nothing to do. It is the practice of being right here, right now, without expectation or attachment to the outcome, and without judging our experience or aspiring to achieve any particular experience. During mindfulness meditation, we practice what are known as the attitudes of mindfulness. They include beginner's mind, non-striving, patience, letting go, acceptance, non-judging, and trust. Any one of these attitudes offer its own spiritual practice, so I'm not going to dive into them here. I'm mentioning them to show you that practicing mindfulness is about much, much more than deep breathing or doing a few yoga postures. That said, we don't need to drink from the mindfulness fire hose. We come to our practice day by day, breath by breath, and enjoy the unfolding. I want to share some of the brain research and talk about neuroplasticity. Research has found that mindfulness meditation can improve the way our brains work. I'm going to talk briefly about two areas of the brain which we can improve through mindfulness meditation. First, the anterior cingulate cortex, or ACC. This part of the brain is associated with self-regulation, meaning the ability to purposefully direct our attention and behavior instead of taking knee-jerk reactions. Mindfulness meditation also helps us to be flexible in our thinking and increases our ability to learn from past experiences. This makes it easier to quickly shift from plan A to B to C. Meditators are able to think out of the box and to see many possibilities for solving a problem. Another part of the brain which improves with mindfulness meditation is the hippocampus. This region of the brain is associated with emotion and memory. It is covered in receptors for the stress hormone cortisol. Studies have shown that the hippocampus can be damaged by chronic stress. For example, people with stress-related disorders like PTSD tend to have a smaller hippocampus. But the amazing thing is that through mindfulness meditation, we can reverse damage to the hippocampus. This all points to the importance of this area of the brain in building resilience, a key contributor to healthy aging. Mindfulness meditation requires self-compassion, self-kindness, and self-acceptance, because as we awaken, we may discover things about ourselves, others, and the way we are living that aren't quite working. This awareness can cause us to feel anxious at first. We may bump up against past wounds or get more in touch with current stressors, ones that often cause us to overwork, overeat, lash out, engage in harmful sexual behaviors, and self-medicate with alcohol, marijuana, tobacco, and prescription drugs. Mindfulness meditation empowers us with self-understanding about the things that trigger unhealthy behaviors that stand in the way of us thriving in this next chapter. This is why mindfulness meditation is at the heart of my wellness model. It all begins with stress reduction. We really don't want to be going through the day in a toxic state of fight or flight with stress hormones pumping through the bloodstream. Plus, stress is often a barrier to healthy change and most often the reason for setbacks. So we really want to get a handle on our stress levels. To help you to better manage and eventually reduce your stress, I invite you to try my 3 latest guided mindfulness meditations, which you'll find on the freebies page of my website, thrivingwithcheryljones.com. Even just 5 minutes a day is a great start because you will train yourself to stop and create a new healthy habit which you can build upon. After a stress event, it takes about 20 minutes to switch from fight or flight and freezing back to the body's natural state. Just like with physical exercise, we want to start slowly and work our way up. So if you're wondering, how long should I practice mindfulness meditation? The answer is 20 minutes. This is when the researched benefits really start to kick in. But I invite you to think cumulatively. If you do a 5-minute practice every day, that's 35 minutes in a week. That's better than 0. That is something. But don't believe me. Give these practices a try and see what you discover. If you're curious about any specific research on mindfulness, I encourage you to check out the American Mindfulness Research Association. There you'll find the best evidence-based standards for the use of mindfulness research and its applications. In closing, I want to thank you once again for allowing me to be part of your journey. If you have a question about today's episode, just write to me at cheryl@thrivingwithcheryljones.com. I hope you'll join me next time when I talk with Dr. Sean Talbot about the gut-brain connection and the relationship between food and mood. Thanks very much for listening. Be well and thrive on.
Thank you for tuning in to the Thrive 55 Plus podcast. Contact Cheryl with a burning question, access free mindfulness meditation resources, and schedule a free consultation to explore how you can achieve your goals and aspirations through personalized coaching sessions with Cheryl. Just visit her website, thrivingwithcheryljones.com. Subscribe to or follow the Thrive 55 Plus podcast, leave a review, or share it with a friend. Until next time, be well and thrive on.